Hi, folks, and welcome back to another week here at We Read It One Night, the podcast where two sisters chat about romance novels and also diversify your fear of bugs. This episode, we're chatting about 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. It's an uber romantic, uber dramatic, and gloriously soft second chance story between two authors who've been writing about each other in their books for a decade. And as a bonus, you'll hear us put on our real estate agent hats, let you in on a local scandal, and launch our pro-snake campaign. Drop us a rating and review on your podcast app, and check out our brand new bookish, feminist, kinky Etsy store while you listen. And enjoy the show. We're committing to leash training our cats because
really?
Evie the other day, you know how she like hits the window, you know, she'll try to get things on the other side of the glass door.
Yeah.
You know, she'll like, you know, throw her paws against it. Well, the other day she literally like from 5 feet away took a running head start and slammed head first into the glass. It was like a cartoon character.
Oh no.
And I was like, she has enough like brain damage as it is. Like she's
Oh no.
stupid enough as it is. Like we have to I was like, she hates it. They both hate it. Addie, I can see never enjoying it because Addie was
Really?
a stray. Addie was a stray, and I think Addie's like, I'm done with the
Oh,
outdoors. Like
interesting.
I like the comfort of the indoors. But Evie
Oh.
is constantly. Evie would love going outside.
I feel like Addie is the one who I originally thought would have more of a chance because we never really gave her a shot. But yeah.
Yeah. No, Addie was so pissed when I took her outside. She was
Oh,
so
really?
upset.
What did she do? She just tried to get back in like Evie does? She likes to have the option.
She immediately tried to get back in. Yeah, we left the door open, and then when I let her back in, she like sprinted away. I was like, "Let me take the harness off." She was like, "You're not taking me back out there, never
Oh my
again."
god. But she'll walk with the harness? Did you try the like letting it trail behind them with a leash and like whatever?
Yes, no, she hates it.
Yeah. No, I know. They always hate it. Oh, speaking of cats, this cat claw razor. Remember it? I bought that like retractable cat paw razor on Etsy.
Oh, like a box cutter,
Sure, a razor
not
blade.
like I was thinking like a like what you use to shave your legs.
No. Yeah, it's great. It's just so many uses. Best purchase.
For what?
Opening boxes, cutting hair off a vacuum cleaner. Like 10 out of 10.
Speaking of people owning houses, the heroine of this book owns a brownstone in Brooklyn.
Wait, does she own the whole brownstone? I wasn't like clear on that.
I'm pretty sure she does because she goes upstairs. Like her daughter goes upstairs at one point. So like there's definitely at least 2 floors to her house.
Yeah, so when she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go broke without this last book," like, ma'am, I'm sorry, that just means you're really bad at like if you're
I think it's more like I'm not going to be able to maintain the like
lifestyle.
the
Okay.
lifestyle.
Yeah,
That's what she means. And because she sends her daughter to private school, she's like, I'm not going to be
That's
able to
true.
continue sending my daughter to private
Yeah,
school.
but that's like wild. Like they're so rich. Yeah.
They're so rich. I'm pretty sure the author also owns a Brooklyn brownstone. I think that I looked that up. Anyway, the book we're doing today is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams.
Woohoo.
And our heroine is Eva. And our hero is Shane.
I mean Eva.
And what?
It's Eva, not Ava.
Oh, yeah, Eva. And they are two authors that have been writing about each other like into their books for the last 10 years.
Wait, the author? Sorry, I looked her up because I wanted to see the brownstone thing. She's apparently she's a longtime fashion editor and the current editorial director for the Estee Lauder companies.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's how she can afford the brownstone.
I guess so. I mean, not that I'm doubting you could do it from books, like, you know, if they're successful enough, but like, I was just saying because she was like, if I don't write this last book, like, I'm gonna go broke, like, not have enough money at all. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. So they're like high school sweethearts. They, you guessed it, had 7 days in June in high school, and now 12 years later, they're having 7 days in June again to reconnect.
As adults.
As adults. And Eva is a paranormal romance author, and she writes like a series about like a witch and a vampire. And the vampire's name, the vampire's name is Sebastian, and he's based on Shane. Like it's just the self-insert.
Mm-hmm.
And then Shane is like a literary fiction author, and he basically just writes about Eva's like life in a fictionalized way.
Yeah, like there's a character 8 who's like a teenage runaway and
Who's
like
basically her. Yeah.
yeah. Except like she has to write like a book a year and like do like all these appearances and like everything and be really involved in like the fan base. And Shane just like it's like that's a no for me, dog, and like disappear and has written 4 books total and just like disappears in between them and like
Yeah.
barely shows up for anything.
Although I don't even know if that's an indication. Like, I feel like it's framed as like an indication of like he's a lot more successful than her. But like, I don't even know if that's true. It's just that like he doesn't have a child or like a mortgage. He just like goes and like camps in Thailand when between books.
That's true, but I guess like if she didn't have a child and a mortgage and she still went and camped in Thailand, like it still might not be.
Yeah. No, but I just don't think it's as big as a disparity as it looks like on the surface, because she has a lot more expenses than he does.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, true. No, because Brooklyn brownstones are like millions, like right, like many millions of dollars. Am I wrong?
Yes.
Is it like
But
somehow only 1
also,
million?
yes, they are, but also my boss's boss owns one.
Okay. Okay, it's like 3. It's like 3 million. Okay, I was thinking
Yeah.
like, I mean that's a lot, but like okay.
I mean, obviously, it also depends on the neighborhood that you live in.
Or maybe these are for apartments, not for the whole house. We could buy a 1 bed, 1 bath for 325,000.
That is horrible. No, thank you. Will not be spending that much money on such a tiny place, especially when I don't particularly enjoy living in New York.
Hey, it has mismatched wood flooring, like different
Oh,
colors in different rooms.
is some of it gray laminate?
Wait, there's 3 different kinds. Yes, one of it's gray laminate, but the other
Horrible.
one is like a yellowy brown, like light brown, and the third one is like a more cool toned brown. Like I don't know. And there's a fourth. Wait, every single room in this house has stop. Wait, and there's a dark wood area? Wait, I'm really confused. Are these all
Wait,
pictures of the
how is
same?
this only one bedroom?
Oh wait, because it's like the kitchen has it. Hold on, I'll send it. Sorry for this off track, but like this is really funny for some reason. It has like a kitchen, has an entryway, has a living
Oh, I
room.
see. They
It has
all are completely different
they are.
colors.
It has like the kitchen with the fridge part, and then it also has like a dining table area. It has like this weird office area with a green car. Oh no, that's probably the lobby
And then the
downstairs.
bedroom has that weird like it's clearly the original room, except that this is not it's not like I don't mean like
Uh-huh.
1800s. I mean like the like 60s when this
Yeah.
apartment building looks like it was built.
Uh-huh.
Why
Uh-huh.
would you not, if you're going to replace the flooring, why would you not?
Why? It's like piecemeal.
There is a
It doesn't
fun office
I like
area.
the living room the best. Wait, but I think the office area is like
The
I
office
doubt
area,
that's
the common space. It's the common space,
yeah,
and
it's
you
like
can see it from the
downstairs.
view.
I like the
Anyway, listener, if
bathroom.
you want to go check this out, it's 915 East 17th Street,
Uh-huh.
number 111
There's this weird like bonus room
in
area.
Brooklyn, New York.
Wow.
That's it. Should we request a tour? It's in Midwood.
Yeah. No, seriously, let's go. I don't know if it's just inflation, but in my head I'm like 325. That's not that bad.
Well, that's how much my friend who has, that's about how much my friend who lives in Midtown
Oh, that's
paid
true.
for her
But she
apartment.
got
But that
that.
was also low income
I thought
housing. And
hers
it
was
was,
like 200 something. And it was what?
no, it's like 300.
Yeah.
That was low income housing, which is like bizarre. Low income housing is $300,000 for a one
Mm.
bedroom apartment. And also it's in Midtown Manhattan.
Yeah.
So
Huh.
it's like a way more prime location.
Yeah. Wow.
Anyway,
It's really funny. It's literally 4 different colors of wood flooring in this one
why?
bedroom apartment. In this
Why?
one bedroom apartment.
God. I just feel like at this point, just cover it all with like gray laminate. You know what I
I
mean? Like,
know.
even gray laminate's the ugliest shit ever, but like at
I
least make it
know.
consistent.
I know.
All right, anyway.
Um,
Eva writes romance books. She's struggling to write her 15th book. She also has a really the internalized misogyny is
no, I
very strong in
know.
Eva, and it is never really unpacked.
No, because it's finally unpacked, but then she's like, "Fuck it, I'm leaving. I'm not doing it anymore."
But it's not like it's not even really like so she ate like even at the beginning she like is really like she keeps shit talking like
Her
romance and
fans.
erotica as a genre. She like quotes like she was so much more than her silly raunchy romance, and like she's like the book she really wants to write is this like fictionalized version of her family history like in Louisiana, and which is like cool and great, and like she goes and does that at the end, and like she does learn to like respect and accept her like maternal ancestors, like the women in her line, in a way that like she didn't before. But we never get the point where she was like, oh, romance isn't silly, erotica isn't silly. Like she has a moment where she's like, oh, my fans aren't just like silly
Losers, yeah.
losers, but like never about the genre. And I was like, this
Mm-mm.
is a bold thing for a
No, I
romance author
know.
to do in her books. I was not happy. I forgot how strong that was.
Yeah. No,
Like
I
when
know,
I
because I
read it
kept
this time
waiting for it
around.
to be, like, addressed more, and it never was. Is she a romance author? Like, does the Tia Williams, like, does she write in general? Okay, she
I
wrote
don't
The
She wrote at least
Accidental
one other
Diva,
romance because it's going to
Courage
be
Flame.
a movie. I think The Perfect
Hmm,
Find is her book that's going to be a movie.
okay. Yeah, no, at least, like, 2 of them it seems like are, or at least 1, I don't know. Anyway.
But also like she's a fashion editor. You would think she would understand working in an
Mm,
industry that's like looked down upon because it's like associated with women.
yeah, but not enough to, like, not buy into it. Anyway.
Whatever.
Um, so the other thing about Eva is that she has like debilitating migraines, like really, really bad, and has like her whole
Yeah.
life and like hides them, like doesn't. That's like her other big thing is like she's like, wow, I told someone that I have migraines instead
Well,
of just,
it's Well,
yeah,
it's because so she has a 12-year-old daughter, and her husband, her ex-husband, like they're divorced. They've been divorced for a long time, and the reason they got divorced is because he was basically like, I can't deal with your disability. Like he like in
yeah.
therapy was like, I wanted a wife, not a patient. And he does apologize for that later in the book, which I'm like glad we got
Does
like the
he?
little he's like she's like she just like asks him like basically like, are my migraines too much or whatever, and he was like, no, I was like an immature young little shit who didn't know how to deal with it. He was like,
I
that's
feel
on
like
me.
migraines have gotten like a similar treatment to like OCD, where it's become something that people say. They'll be like, "Oh, I'm getting a migraine," when they just mean like a normal headache. Or like, "I'm
Yeah.
so OCD because I like to organize things," to the point where like
Yeah.
the actual like underlying thing, like people can't fathom like how bad it actually is.
Yeah. Yeah. Like my migraines aren't as bad as Eva's.
Yeah, but
Eva's seem to be
still.
just like my top. I've had migraines as bad as Eva's, but like those are like my top level really bad migraines, and her like normal migraine seems to be what like my top level really bad migraine
Mhm.
is.
Yeah, yeah.
uh
But I feel like if
yeah, so
there's
I
like a
was
reason
like,
that people, yeah. You're like, "What?"
no, I was just like, I get it. I get it. You like, I can't imagine having
Yeah.
like my top level migraines all the time, like
Uh-huh.
basically every day, because it's like a it's like a barometric pressure thing. Like that's the thing that triggers it the most, but like also like alcohol and sugar and like stress. So like basically everything.
Yeah. No, really horrible, yeah.
I do like that it's acknowledged as like an invisible disability, because I feel like a lot of times that kind of stuff isn't.
Or by, like, the Social Security Administration. Like, you can get disability for migraines, but you have to, like, link it to, like, another, like, condition.
Yeah.
Anyway, Eva comes home. Audrey, there's, like, this subplot. Well, there's, like, throughout this book, there's,
Audrey's
like,
her
a lot
12-year-old
of,
daughter.
yeah, a lot of different perspectives. Like, we get perspectives from, like, a bunch of different characters. And
Yeah.
Audrey is, like, charging for these Snapchat therapy sessions,
I
which I
love
think is
her.
really funny. Yeah, she's, like,
I love her
iconic.
so, because
She's, like,
she goes to like rich white kid charter school, like private school. So she's like scamming the rich white kids on Snapchat.
yeah.
It's great.
But like, yeah, Eva's like cut it out, even though like unclear why. Like, come on. Come on. And even like the thing that Audrey gets in trouble for later, it's like unclear why that was her fault.
It's not her fault, but it's because it's like the woman's like on the chair of the board, you know what I mean? She gets to decide the punishment because she's like the chair of the school or whatever.
I don't know.
She's on the board. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, so Audrey does that. Also, yeah, but back to like the multiple perspectives. Yeah, we get a lot of multiple perspectives and also a lot of like head hopping. Like even if
That's
it's
what
like
I mean.
Shane.
Wait.
Well, no. I mean two different things. So there's the multiple perspectives in that like we get occasionally like Audrey's POV and Cece, who's Eva's best friend's POV. And we get Ty, who's like a kid that Shane mentors. We get his POV sometimes. But I mean, you know, most of the time it's Eva and Shane, but even in scenes where they're together, like the sex scenes a lot of the times, like it'll switch between his perspective and her perspective throughout the scene. Like that's what I mean by head hopping, which is really interesting because like I feel like that's something that's sort of roundly like looked down on as like a writing method. Like it was something that was really common in like the 90s and the early 2000s in romance. Like if you read a lot of early Lisa Kleypas, there's a lot of head hopping. I think even in like the Wallflower series there's head hopping, but you'll see that and like that's not really a thing anymore, like because it can get really confusing if you're like wait, what, I thought I was in like the woman's perspective and like now we're switching to this other character in the middle of the scene. But I thought it was well done. I don't know. I wasn't confused. I thought it was well done. And I thought it was an interesting technique insofar as it like, because they're constantly talking about how they're like melded together, like how their lives are like their roots are like, you know, one, like how they're like one person or whatever. And I thought it was like an interesting way, particularly because it happened mostly during the sex scenes. That like,
yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even notice it during the sex scenes. I don't know why it would be looked down on though. Like, wasn't
because it can get really confusing. It can get really confusing really quickly.
It seems
if
like
you're
skill
suddenly
issue.
Switching perspectives. Well, it is a skill issue, but the problem is most authors are not
a skill issue on the part of the reader. I mean,
no.
Yeah. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
Anyway,
so throughout we get these like flashbacks. I don't know. We probably don't want to do like as they occur. I don't know.
No. I feel like we can just say. Can we just want to summarize it now?
Yeah, Eva's full name is Genevieve Mercier, and she started going by Eva Mercy when she like left home or whatever. But she basically grew up with her mom, Lizette, who's like a professional sugar baby. It seems like so they like moved around with all these different men like paying for their lifestyle. And like at first it was really nice and like she went to all these like fancy like Swiss boarding schools and whatever. But then like as Lizette got older than like 21, like they like it started getting shittier and like really abusive and like terrible. But also like her mom just generally was like not that is a narcissist. Yeah.
No, but I was gonna say is, and I think it's because in the first flashback there's like a Twilight reference, but I was like, this is Bella and Renee like on steroids, like their relationship, like really bad, like Renee looks like a good parent in comparison to
like
Lizette.
if Renee hadn't been Mormon and had gone the sugar baby route instead of the kindergarten teacher route.
Yes.
And like
exactly.
and like even worse. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And like in this first flashback, like Eva almost gets like assaulted by like her mom's current boyfriend. And she has to like defend herself. And the Twilight references, he's like, how old are you? And she's like 17. And I was like, how long have you been 17?
Do you think I didn't even catch that.
No. I don't think that was a Twilight. I don't think that was a Twilight reference at all. I think she just happens to be 17 and he happens to be like a creepy guy asking her how old she is.
We did get like an explicit Twilight reference at the beginning because she's like, yeah, now that like the vampire craze is dying down with like my books. And like it's implied that like the last time something like this happened with one of her mom's boyfriends, like her mom not only like didn't help her but was like kind of jealous, like was like
her mom, that's like a big part of their relationship is that her mom is like very quick to get jealous of like anything that she perceives as good happening to Eva.
Not just anything she perceives as good, but like in the fucked up like child abuse, and you're jealous because your boyfriend's
I'm saying
she
perceives it as good. She perceives like Eva's getting attention from this man. I'm not that's why I said that she perceives as good, not that is like an actually good thing.
And so her mom did like pageant screen. She comes from this like town in Louisiana, Bellefleur, and like quote, and so like it's It's like, quote, "Everyone in their town could trace their ancestry back to the same 18th century pair." And then they talk about how, like, all of their ancestors, like, it's like they had murder, madness, mysterious explosions of rage. And I was like, "Is it mysterious or is it inbreeding?" Like, everyone in the town can trace their ancestry back to 2 people, like, 150 years ago? Let's think about this. So she's doing this, like, fancy panel that she, like, doesn't think she's, like, qualified for because she's a lowly romance author, whatever, whatever. And then we cut to Shane's perspective, and Shane, as we were saying, has spent, like, he just, like, writes his books, then he bops around and, like, teaches. He's been sober for 26 months, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And he hasn't been able to write because he's like, I only know how to write when I'm drunk.
Uh-huh. He teaches at these, like, fancy schools, but then, like, at each city, he, like, somehow also like, I don't unclear how he locates these children, but he always, like, finds a way to, like, reach out to, like,
Like
a bad
underserved youth.
yeah, bad school, and, like, but he's also, like, potentially teaching, I don't know, whatever, but he always has, like, one kid that he, like, really latches onto and, like, tries to mentor, and this time
Yeah.
it's Ty.
So like now Shane is going to New York, and he's going to New York ostensibly for like this big like Black Literary Excellence Award, the Liddies, but he's actually going for Ava.
Yeah.
He's actually going to see her.
Eva.
Fuck.
Genevieve.
Okay, well, it's French. You can't expect me to have absorbed that.
And he shows up at this panel, and Eva's, like, really pissed because she's like, "Wow, I've gone this whole time without seeing him," which, first of all, I thought, like, thanks, like, deity for not, like, I thought someone was looking out for me because, like, it seems like a huge coincidence that we haven't run into each other before now, and now, like, what is it, like, 16 years
No,
later or
of
something?
course. And she's like, of course it's when like I'm on this panel, like, and I'm doing really well. She's like, I'm on a roll, like everybody likes me, the audience is like into it. She's like, I'm feeling
Yeah.
confident. And then like he pops up. And when she sees him, it's described as her physical reaction was operatic. Operatic. That's how you pronounce it.
Okay.
And I don't know. I just really liked that. I did not deliver it as a good line just now, but I did write. I was like, that's a damn good line. Good job, Tia. Really liked that writing there.
And he, like, immediately comes in and, like, basically takes it over. Like, well, not, like, take
Accidentally. He doesn't
yeah,
mean
like,
to.
well, everyone, like, makes him take it over. Like, they're all, like, so excited to see him because, like, again, he's created this, like, air of scarcity, we're never being around or whatever, and then afterwards, he's like,
They essentially get into like a verbal like tussle on stage where they're basically
Mm,
like, stop writing about me in your
yeah.
books, without like actually saying that, but then they do actually
No.
say it like after. They don't say it to the audience.
No, it's not Stop Writing About Me in Her Books, it's where, like, he basically, like, comes out and, like, shows that he has read all of her books and, like, also tried and failed to buy her merch
Yes.
from her website because it's always sold out.
Yes.
And like, her Facebook group is like, our Eva plus randos was on a panel.
Yes.
Was on some panel.
And
Which I
there was one cursed fanboy. Curse is the name of her series. Like, one cursed fanboy in the audience, and she's like, besides middle-aged white
Yeah.
women, my like main audience was like Gen X gay men. And it's just he's in the background just going, whoa.
He's wearing his witch hat, and she's like, "Oh, really? The witch hat here when I'm trying to be serious?" I'm like, "Wow, you really?"
Yeah.
The hate for
Can
your
you,
fan base, ma'am.
ma'am?
Serious?
Yeah.
Like, get out of
But they
here.
do, after they have like, after the public discussion, they are both like, stop writing about me in your books. And then Shane is like, you first.
So, I guess we didn't really cover all the flashbacks at once, even a little bit.
You want to do that right
I
now?
bet. Well, I don't know. We find out that they met, like,
They met in high school. Their high school meet cute is such, I was like, what in the AO3 like fic is this? Because like they meet because she sees him reading and she's like, oh, tucks hair behind ear, like he's different. And she
oh no, and that's, like, adding on to the it's giving, like, such not like other girls. Like, I don't know. She's like, "Ugh,
oh
usually beautiful boys are safe because they don't want someone so ugly like me. They want the proud
yeah.
queen." Like, all right. Like,
Oh
literally,
my
it's established that,
god.
like, your mom was a pageant queen and you look like her. And you're
Yeah.
also, like, very skinny. Like, I don't know, just, like,
Yeah. And but
ipso
I do
facto.
I do appreciate the fact that Shane is constantly, like never endingly throughout the book, described as like the hottest man alive. Like,
Oh,
it's every time
absolutely.
he appears, it's like, wow, look, it's the hottest man alive.
Oh, and it's not
I
even,
love
like,
it.
yeah, and, like, he knows it. He's like, "Yeah, it's been pretty convenient." Like,
Yeah. Cheese. Yeah, so they meet because of that. He like breaks his arm a lot. That's like his thing. And then she also does like self-harm, which I'm gonna put trigger warnings in the description because there are quite a few for this book. And he's basically just like, leave me alone. I'm broody and mysterious. And then like, yeah, she's like, I am like, he like assumes she's trying to sell him drugs or something, and she's like, I'm not a dealer, and he's like, I've had girl dealers, I'm
No,
a
he assumes.
feminist.
Yeah, no, he assumes that she's trying to like set him up to be jumped because he owes someone money.
Yeah. And no, but he literally says, let me brood in peace. Like this
Yeah.
is a direct quote that this little boy says. Then they have some like weird high school peach foreplay, and
Yeah. Where she like cuts the peach like a Serbian grandfather. Like
yes.
directly with a knife on
Um,
her thumb. Yeah.
yeah. But I also just so she uses like lavender and peppermint oil on her like temples as like a migraine soother thing. And I was
Mhm.
just like, I just like want to write a like response book to this to like represent the minority of people out there who hate lavender like me. It's like lavender triggers my migraines. Like can't relate, Eva. Can't
Well,
relate.
yeah, but like it's not true for everyone. I'm
I
very like
I
neutral to
know.
lavender. I don't really love it or hate it. It just smells like no, like I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, so they get in a fight. Like someone cuts her hair and tries to beat her up, and then he like defends her, and then they both get in a fight, and then they're like suspended. And then they leave the hospital because they're like, nobody cares about us. We're misfits.
Yeah, Shane like fights on her behalf and like basically lets himself get beat up until the last minute when he uses his cast to crack the kid across the head, which is like such a
Yes.
power move. But also that
Yeah.
like damn like but why would that really re-break your arm like using your cast to hit someone?
I could see it breaking your arm.
Really?
Particularly if it's because he constantly is re-breaking his arm. So like
Mm,
that bone is fragile. That
mm,
bone's weak, like if it's
I
constantly having
guess.
to heal.
Yeah, I guess.
Anyway, so they run off and then they go stay. He like has like this girl that it's implied that he like has to have sex with her in order to like get this privilege.
Well, or like give her drugs
I think
or
like
both.
both. Yeah, so she like her parents are like the Korean like or like ambassadors whatever, so they're never like at this
Yeah.
house. And so like he and Eva stay there for the week and like do drugs and make out and like bond spiritually and emotionally and then eventually have sex. And at one point, she tells him about the guy, her mom's boyfriend, who tried to sexually assault her, and he disappears for like 36 hours. And he
Yeah.
comes back and he's like, he's never going to bother you again. And I was like,
So it's really
and,
only like 5.5 days in June, but listen.
but it was literally, it was Rachel. It was a who did this to you moment
Yeah.
because she tells him about it and he's like, what's the name of the like bar he works at? And then he's like, what's his name? Like, and then he just scampers off and
Yeah.
avenges her.
Yeah.
And we get a description from Lizette later in the book of like what his condition is. And it's like he's like fucked up.
Uh-huh.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. We love it.
So basically they spend like basically the whole besides that moment when he leaves, like just hanging out in this house and like doing a lot of drugs. And like at one point the Korean ambassador girl comes back and like gives them frozen peas and then
For their
leaves.
eyes.
Like we get her
Yeah.
perspective. Like it's funny. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
many
We
random
randomly get her
like for what?
perspective.
I don't know. Listen.
Yeah. Then they
She's
give
getting
Twinkie.
married. So I guess
Yeah.
like she's technically like
She's in college.
I know, but she's 22 and he's like 17 and they're
Yeah.
ostensibly
No,
having sex.
it's no, it's not great. Yeah. But they also at one point like steal Twinkies and then put them under the pillows of all the children in his
Oh
orphanage
yeah.
because like he's like failed out of the foster system so many times or
Right.
whatever because
Right.
he thinks he killed his foster mom
Oh
because
right, because
like
that
he broke his
yeah.
arm and then they were in a car and they got in the car accident and she
'Cause she was
died and
rushing to get him to
he
the hospital.
yeah
Like
she
he had
died
like
and then
one stable foster family from like age 0 to 7 and then like
yeah
yeah.
and then it all went downhill from there but yeah so basically for most of the book we get the impression that like Shane left Eva. Like they were like separated at the end of that week.
Yeah.
We don't really know why. And Eva's perspective is like, oh, he left me. Like he said he was never gonna leave me, and then he left me. Like what a jerk. And I feel like we can wait to reveal that. Like,
which like is why I was thinking it's just wild that Shane like has zero anger about this. Like insane. Okay.
well, I think he did. That's why he was like an alcoholic for the last
like
decade.
directed at her mom. I don't know.
Yeah.
Listen. So, okay. So back to the present day. Audrey gets in trouble at school for the Snapchat thing. Like somehow, I really am unclear on how this is related to her therapy sessions. But basically one of her quote unquote clients posts on her Snapchat that like her mom, who's a board member at the school, is like cheating with the English teacher, like fucking the English teacher. Really unclear what this has to do with Snapchat, with the therapy sessions. Like it's unclear
I think
how
it's
this is
because
Audrey's fault.
she's giving her Snapchat therapy, and then someone takes a screenshot of it and like spreads it everywhere.
Okay, but
So
like
it's
but
not
she's
her
not the
fault.
one but she's not the one sleeping with the English teacher, and, like, this could have happened even outside of the
I
context of, like, her
understand. I
paying for therapy.
understand
It
this.
doesn't make sense. But, basically, the principal is like, "Alright, listen, Audrey is, like, expelled or, like, not gonna be invited back next year unless you find me a replacement English teacher." And Eva's like, "Fuck, well, I know, like, one
Yeah.
English teacher. I guess it's Shane for me." So, like
Yeah. I'm super obsessed with how into into bribes, like openly into bribes the principal is.
I know.
Like
She's,
she
like
has
and her hair extensions, these expensive boots, yeah.
like paid because like this guy didn't want his daughter to get suspended, like paid to like get this kid like you know, a high SAT score or something, you know, like it's all, and I was like, I love her.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Yeah. So they had like so Eva and Shane had like met up at a coffee shop, and then like Eva's been ignoring his texts, but like now she's like, all right,
Yeah.
fine. Like she shows up.
And
What?
wait, but at the cafe when they like met before, one, there's like a bunch of like posts in the like cursed fan group, and also between like we get like Cece's POV, and like basically her friends, like everyone figures out that these two goobers like have been writing about each other, are like in love with each other,
Yeah.
because they're just not subtle at all. Case in
No.
point,
The
Shane
tattoo
at one point, yeah, they have tattoos of each other's
that are
initials
in the
that
books.
are covering up scars of each other's initials that they carved into each other during their like when they were in high school.
Oh wait, so they each separately got tattoos afterward? Are you sure?
I don't know whether he has a tattoo. She has a tattoo. He has a scar of her initial.
Oh,
Like,
okay. Okay.
he has a scar. No, but in case in point, in the cafe, at one point he tells her, they're talking about their past, and he's like, I wanted to drown in your fucking bathwater, Eva. It's like, you're insane.
What? Wait, what does that have to do with how obvious they are?
Just how obsessed with each other they are, and like
Oh,
how
okay.
just
Okay.
like not subtle. Like that's like the least subtle thing I've ever heard.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to
Yeah.
drown in your fucking bathwater.
Okay.
You want it to be soup, Rachel. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So they meet up and he's like, I need you to be an English teacher or whatever.
And he agrees immediately, like no hesitation.
They go to this like sleep art installation where there's like little pods to sleep. Like, and it's like no sex, but like you are allowed to go in with like another person, which is like
Yeah,
bold.
no touching. Which I was like, why can't we have nice things? Like, why can't that like nap rooms be a thing? They're a thing in Japan. Like
I think
other
they are a
places have
thing. I feel like
them.
yeah, it's
But
true.
they're not
Maybe
like
they
a
don't exist.
mainstream thing like in New
Yeah, but
York.
I'm gonna
And
be
then I
honest,
realized it's
Allison.
because of people like Eva
Okay,
and
but
Shane later in the
also
scene.
right, but also very much like a very toxic thing. Like I feel like
Oh,
they're a thing in Japan
absolutely.
because people just aren't allowed
Oh,
to get enough sleep because
absolutely.
they have to be at
No,
work,
they
which is
are.
also true in New York, but like I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. This is why we can't have nice things.
Mm.
But yeah, so they go and they like reminisce about like how fucked up they were and like how they're trying to be mentally healthy. Yeah, and the girl that invited them to the nap room also like posted pictures of them on like book Twitter and being like, "Look, they're so cute, like Shade Hall
Mhm.
and
But
Mercy."
she's a huge Curse fan, but it's like too cool to show it. Whatever. Couldn't be
Yeah,
me.
she like it's like yeah, we get her perspective too. We get her
Yeah,
perspective.
like for what? I don't know. Whatever. Okay, yeah, anyway, they have sex in the nap room. And then Eva ghosts. Like Shane falls asleep and Eva
She
just like
runs.
leaves.
But the foreplay in the nap room is like he like tells her about how he has this like scar on his chest from like surfing or whatever. And then
Uh-huh.
like she's like like, let me see it. And I was like, ah, the good old, like, tell her about a scar on her chest, so she asks you to take off your shirt and then you guys can fuck. I see what the technique is going on here. Like, classic. Yeah, and they fuck and then she immediately runs away, which good for her.
Somehow, I don't know what happens next, but like Shane meets Audrey, like he comes to their house. Eva tells him he can come over, and not realizing that like Audrey has off from school that day because it's the second to last day of the school year for some reason. I don't know,
Yeah.
which is so dumb. Like, why
Because
would they do
for
that?
teachers to grade or whatever, like that's what it's
Why
supposed to
wouldn't?
be.
But like, why not just end the school year the day before?
I think you're supposed to. I think because you get your report cards or whatever. That I think that's probably the like
Oh,
the system of it. Yeah, no. But yeah, so Eva thinks Audrey's gonna be at school and she invites Shane over. She's like, sorry for leaving. Can you come over? Well, no, first she's like, LOL. And he's like, really? LOL. Like, that's what you're gonna text me. It's the first thing she texts him after she like ditches him in the nap room. And he's like, Eva, come on now. But yeah, he comes over and she like totally forgets. And Audrey thinks that like Audrey had like seen the pictures of her and Shane, and she was like, oh my God, like you had to sleep with him to become the English teacher so I wouldn't get expelled. Like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, Bob. And like, so they have there's this whole interaction in which she's like, how dare you take advantage of my mom? And he's like, what? Like,
yeah. Like he thinks that. Yeah, he thinks she's yeah, because she was like, I would do anything to keep you in school. But like Shane meets her, they get along great. Like Eva has basically been like crafting this story. Like Audrey doesn't really know anything about Eva's childhood. Like she thinks that Lizette was like this cool, like I forget, like model actress slash model, and that's why they traveled
model,
so
yeah.
much, and like it was all like really great. And like I don't know.
Yeah, like turning the history into like something of like a so she's like a feminist icon instead of just like a really shitty parent. Also, during the conversation, Audrey's like, like you know what, like the other kid was in detention doing, like she was in there because she came to school with a tequila soaked tampon and was like passed out by third period. And when I tell you that I had flashbacks, Rachel, I had flashbacks to my senior year of high school when so our high school has like an event, like a yearly like event that raises money for charity, but also like gives the kids an excuse to just go absolutely feral. And my year, there were multiple people who got sent to the hospital because they came with tequila soaked tampon. I'm not kidding. I was like, it was a big scandal. Like the charity refused to take the money. Like it was like a whole thing.
I just remember our AP world teacher telling us about it. Like unclear if like she was reporting on something that most people already knew about or like she was the one that planted the seed. Anyway, Shane meets Audrey. It goes really well.
Audrey is like, Mommy never hangs out with heterosexual men. And then Ava's like, not true, Eva said, her mouth full of banana. And I was like, I see what you did there, Tia, and I respect it. She's eating a banana.
Audrey and Eva had this like big blowout fight too, also before like when this is like their first reconnection where Audrey was like, Mom, you never date, like whatever. And Eva's like, yeah, I don't have time to date. Like, you think I have time to date when I have a kid? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, like, yeah, Audrey thinks she's a burden. But then when they make up, Audrey cat like sits in Eva's lap.
Okay, so then Audrey's like gone for some reason, and Shane and Eva are talking, and Eva's finally like, I trained myself to like not wonder, but like why? Like I can't believe you left me. Like I stayed alive for you, but you killed me anyway. Which like iconic line.
Yeah. Oh man, they're so dramatic. I love it.
And Shane's like, what do you mean I left? Like your mom never told you? Like your mom never told you what happened? And she's like, what do you mean? He's like, you should probably ask your mom. Like,
No, he's like, your mom sent me to prison.
no,
And
he
then she calls
doesn't.
her mom to confirm. Yes.
Oh, okay. So yeah, he's like, yeah, I went to prison for 2 years because she called the cops on me, which is like insane that he's not like more mad about this. Like 2 years in prison.
Yeah. That's when he wrote his first book, Eight, his like best-selling
Oh,
book. He wrote it in
wow.
prison. But yeah, he's like, so basically like Eva overdosed and he like freaked out and like called her mom and then like called
Mhm.
911 and like her mom called 911 and like came to the house and then like called the cops on him. And then, so Eva calls Lizette, and there's this whole conversation. We get it from Lizette's perspective. And we essentially get that, like, Lizette called the cops because, like, she claimed that, like, oh, like, he tried to kill you. Like, he was a bad, bad boy or whatever. But it was, like, actually because, like, she saw them together. She saw, like, how in love with her he was. And she was like, she doesn't deserve to have this. Like, I'm going to send him to jail. Which is so fucked up.
Well, did she call the cops before showing up, do you think? Or like had she already, and then that was just like what made her lean in? But like what exactly did he get sent to jail for? Like
For giving her the drugs that made her
no.
overdose. And
No,
also
that's not how that works.
no, also she had been cutting the whole time. She'd been self-harming the whole 7 days. So she had like a lot of like cuts and like open wounds on her body. And so they were like, you did that to her.
Yeah, but
Because
how
Lizette was
did
like, you don't cut.
doesn't make sense. How did all of that happen without her knowledge or involvement? Like they didn't interview the quote unquote victim even once.
He had a record.
I
He
don't
had
know.
priors.
Like something's not adding up here. And like she didn't get sent to jail. I don't know. I guess it could happen,
She
but
got
like I'm just trying
sent.
to
She
figure out
got
like
sent
what
to the psych
exactly.
ward.
Like a plea. Yeah, I know, but like if it like if it's just for like having the drugs, it's like they I don't know. Yeah. I mean obviously yeah, I believe it can happen. It's just like something's not quite. I just feel like you can't.
I feel like you're also looking at this from like a white person's perspective of the justice system that like assumes it follows the rules all the time.
Yeah, no, that's true.
You know, like he's a black man with like a black kid, but like he's almost 18 with priors in like what's supposed to be like a low income neighborhood in Washington D.C.
I guess it's just weird to me that they wouldn't involve the quote unquote victim at all. Just because like there's so many times when that would kind of make sense. Like if it's like a child and yeah, like the child always has to like still I don't know, whatever.
So she finds out that it's true and they like finally reconnect.
They go to this like party and Audrey invites Shane to brunch. Okay, so the other thing is that Audrey spends the summer with her dad in California every year. And their tradition is that like the day before, they go to fancy brunch at this like hotel, like her and her mom, her and Eva. And Audrey invites Shane to the brunch and he says yes. And Shane also doesn't pick up a phone call from his kid Ty, like the kid that he's most recently been mentoring in I forget where he was before,
Providence,
like BC,
Rhode
Providence,
Island.
Rhode Island. Because he's like so happy or whatever, and he like lets the call go to voicemail.
Which is like the first time he's ever like not immediately answered the kid. And we get like he's been having conversations throughout the book with Ty where Ty would like wants to like he's like loan me money so I can like pay for like a recording studio to like
With my sister's sketchy
start my
boyfriend,
rap career or whatever.
yeah.
And he's like, it's your sister's sketchy boyfriend. He definitely does not have a real thing. Like they're definitely scamming you. And so like we cut off where Ty is like at the sketchy boyfriend's house and sketchy boyfriend comes out and Ty is like, oh, don't worry, like I brought a gun for protection. And then it like, you know, cuts off and you're like, oh, bad news bears.
Yeah.
And he's like trying to call Shane basically the whole time.
Yeah.
But this party that they're at specifically, Cece's hosting it specifically because she wants Shane and Eva to come so she can like get the tea on them.
Or she could like assess the situation. Yeah.
Which I'm upset. And at the okay, I want you to tell me whether you knew this. So at the party, like we get just like a list of like the music that's like being played, and one of the people being played is SZA, the artist, like SZA.
Yes, thank you.
No, this is relevant because when I did not know it was pronounced SZA until approximately 2 weeks ago when I said it in front of Stefan and he was like, "You mean SZA?" Because I have been calling her Za in my head this whole time for years.
Are you
I didn't realize. I thought it was just like a kind of fast like consonants of the
I'm gonna be honest,
understand. It makes sense now.
I don't think there was any sound associated with that in my head. And I think I just for some reason Sia, like it's the same as Sia, like not really, but like that's the same. They occupy the same. They share the cubby hole in my brain.
Yeah. Anyway, that was embarrassing for me. And yeah, let me know. Write in, listener. Did you know how to pronounce this artist's name? It was just one of those things that like I'd only ever seen it written down. Like I'd never heard anyone say
exactly.
it. So, like I just didn't know.
Or like if you did, it didn't like connect it with the
Yeah. And Audrey's at the party, but she's like forced to be like in the basement with like all the other kids, and they're all like toddlers. And she's like,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get paid for unpaid babysitting. And they're watching the Lego movie. And Audrey shit talks the Lego movie. And I was like, the Lego movie is excellent. Like, I don't know about the sequels, I don't really care. But like the original Lego movie is fun as hell, Audrey. And I'm sensing this is once again this like not like other girls vibes
Mm-hmm.
where she's like, I'm too intellectual for the Lego. I'm like, the
Absolutely.
Lego movie's fun. Like, just learn to have fun, Audrey. That's okay. You're
100%.
12.
Although we do have like a earlier where she's like thinking about who, like she hears Shane's name and she's like, oh yeah, I associate him with like, I forget what she calls it, like
F train
books that F
books.
train books that grown-ups read on the train to like look smart, and like those aren't for me. So like I don't know. I guess there
Yeah.
is a little bit of a
So yeah,
balance,
she
but
like
like
recognizes and
it's
then
the
but
same
also
as
is
Eva. It's the same as Eva.
yeah.
She's like simultaneously like buying into it and like bitter about it. I don't know.
Yeah. The internalized misogyny is strong. Except the Lego
Yeah.
movie isn't even like internalized misogyny. I don't even know what
It's
that
just like
counts. Like
internalized fun.
internalized.
But like of other girls like the Lego movie, then like I can't. Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever.
No, but it's
It's
like the
fine.
toddlers. Like she's like, I'm too
Yeah.
old for the Lego movie.
Well, I mean, I guess it could just be like typical like kid being like, I'm so mature. I'm so mature. That's what she
Yeah,
talks
no, no, no.
about.
I'm less inclined to judge Audrey, but I just wanted to call out that the Lego movie is excellent and I highly recommend watching.
Yeah.
It's a fun time.
Yeah. But anyway, they Shane shockers doesn't show up to brunch tomorrow and doesn't even text to like say it even once he remembers, which like unclear what the timeline is, but basically he gets a call that Ty is in the intensive care unit and has like Shane is his emergency contact, I guess. And Ty like doesn't
Yeah.
have any other adult. So Shane like immediately gets on a plane and then like unclear when he realizes.
He
But even at
realizes
that
on the
point,
plane.
he still doesn't text.
He realizes on the plane. And then I guess when he lands, he like immediately is running to the ICU and then
Yeah.
like Ty dies. Like
Yeah, which is
Ty,
crazy. I remember he was so shocked by that.
yeah, I was like, oh, I seriously thought Ty was gonna know, but like he really does die. So I mean, I can understand being like, I don't have the mental
Yeah.
space to like explain why I missed brunch to someone right now.
Yeah.
But oh, also I forgot like throughout this whole book, Eva's been talking like she has like a movie deal, but the
Mm.
director wants to like whitewash all her characters. The director is like, yeah, we have to make them white for mainstream appeal, and like Eva's really
Mhm.
conflicted about that. But then at the party, Cece gets her like a new director who's like, absolutely not. Like these characters are going to be black. So it's just a very exciting thing for that. Glad,
Mhm.
happy for Eva. It's not
Yeah.
super plot relevant, but I guess it like enables her to like not write the last cursed book and then like go write her own book because like she has like the income from the movie deal and the like from
I
sales.
guess. Yeah, I guess it's supposed to be like a metaphor for like moving on.
Oh, also Eva's been wearing this cameo ring the
Oh
whole time
yeah.
that she thought was just like an antique that one of her mom's boyfriends gave her
She
mom.
stole it from her mom's jewelry box.
Yeah, but then she discovers that it's actually like her great great grandmother's, and like she like asks her
Or
mom
like
for
even farther
pictures.
back. Yeah.
Yeah, and that it's like basically been passed down to the generation. And in the epilogue, she gives it to Audrey, which is like very
Yeah.
like
Which I
it's a
want a
nice
cameo
symbolic
ring
thing.
now. Like it's
Yeah,
cool.
it's really cool. Yeah, it's supposed to be like 150 years old.
Why have we been limiting ourselves to signet rings? I feel like cameo rings are better.
It's true. But yeah, so Eva's at the award show where she's like nominated for best erotica writers, and she's sitting with all the other erotica writers, and once again, she's like, the internalized misogyny is so strong. Like
Oh, for
they're just
real.
like she's not like mean to them. Like she's friends with all of them, but like just like her internal monologue is like, like I
I
don't want to be here with
know.
like these like non-serious writers.
Yeah. No, for real.
But
Yeah,
then
it's just really what?
the cursed fandom shows up at the award show and they're like all in the
Yeah.
back and they're wearing shirts that are like Eva plus Shane, like Shane is the real Sebastian.
Oh my god. Can you imagine? Like, can you imagine? I don't even know what the equivalent would be. Like, you find out that Stephanie Meyer is actually married to a 117-year-old vampire.
I mean, who
Like,
knows? I've never seen her husband. He could actually be Edward.
I think we've seen enough to know he's no Edward, unfortunately. But listen, no, it's really funny. Just like, wow, I love it. It's like, oh god.
And just imagine your fans like shipping it. Like it's just
No, is that God? Like,
it's hilarious. It's hilarious. But yeah, she goes up and she wins. Woohoo. She wasn't expecting to win. She goes up and she's like, there's
woo.
not gonna be book for 15. I'm ending the series. And the man, one of the cursed fans in the back, like lets out a blood curdling like shriek of despair. And she just goes, I'm sorry, sir. And continues with her speech.
She does like thank them before. She's like, thank you for choosing me. Like in this whole world of authors you could have picked, you chose me.
Yeah. And she does come to the realization where she's like, my love with Shane is like very tumultuous and like unhealthy in a lot of ways. But like the love that my fans give me is actually like it's stable and like they stick by me and they support me. And like that's actually what like good love is, which is nice. And I was like, it really doesn't make up for all the other times you've been shit talking them in your head. But I appreciate that you at least acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, she goes out. She
and
wins.
Shane
And then
shows up instead of like texting. He shows up in person. Oh, because also Shane's whole thing is that he's like too good for social media and like can't be bothered.
Yeah.
Which like
My
Eva
God.
rightfully is like, wow, like that's just like
Fuck you.
You're allowed to not do that because like you're held to this.
Yeah. A different standard.
Yeah.
Oh, they broke up before she wins the award. She runs out before they announce the winner that she wins the award.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's like basically explains and she's like very sympathetic, but then he's like, yeah, I'm sorry, like we can't be together right now. Like he's like and making the first really responsible decision he'd ever made in his life. Shane, was giving the parents and Matilda at the end of the movie. And then like and doing perhaps the first like kind thing they'd ever done for their daughter. The Wormwood signed the adoption papers.
Oh man.
Yeah, and
but
then she wins the award, and then that's the end, and then we get the epilogue.
Yeah, and I was like very bold of them to not get
really
their HEA
bold.
until the epilogue.
Yeah,
that was shocking.
I get that it's just like labeling, but it is bold. Yeah. Anyway, so she's down in Louisiana, staying at like her quote unquote aunt's house, who's just like not actually her aunt, but like someone. Having a great time. Her migraines are
She's
horrible.
there for the summer because Audrey's in Datafornia, in California. So.
And she asks Shane to house sit for them. So he's like in their house in Brooklyn. And also just a little, so they like start texting. One detail that I noticed is she brings up the water bugs, how like her aunt kills a water bug in front of her and it crunched like it had bones. And you realize those are the water bugs. I feel like when someone says water bug, I picture like a very insubstantial, like skinny, like lanky bug that could somehow float on water.
What's a water bug?
It's those giant ones that Stefan was always warning us about that like can bite you and it's extremely painful. Yeah.
Wait, those are cockroaches.
But it's a water, but not like cockroaches because cockroaches don't bite.
Oh, that's horrible.
No, these bitches bite. You see those things on the front? They're huge. Remember I found one on the sidewalk?
Yeah.
In our neighborhood, and I was like, "What is this? What a cool bug!" And Stefan was like, "Back the fuck up, back up."
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate everything about that.
No, for real.
Oh, and do you want to know? Oh my God. Wait, sorry. I just saw a picture of one with eggs and it's even worse. It's horrible.
I know.
Oh.
They're called alligator
hate everything
fleas.
About that.
Yeah, toe biters.
They're cockroaches, but with weapons.
Yeah.
Jesus
Giant
Christ.
water bugs, toe biters. They're the largest insects in the order Hemiptera. They're a popular food in parts of Asia.
I did see a picture of someone holding up like a tray of like what I'm assuming were like fried water bugs.
Me too.
I mean, listen, insects are a good protein source. That's the way of the future. Sustainable protein insects.
Yeah, their front legs are modified into raptorial appendages that they use to grab their prey.
Wait. The
the
term
African
is raptorial?
Yes, except for the African limnogeton, which has, quote, normal forelegs and is a specialized snail eater. It's giving Bella Googling vampires A to Z. The African limogeton. Once caught, the prey are stabbed with their proboscis and a powerful proteolytic saliva is injected, allowing the bellostomatid to suck out the liquefied remains.
That's badass, though. That's badass.
Oh, no. While members of the subfamily Lethoceridae can disperse by flying, other species, including Abetus herberti, have a greatly reduced flight apparatus and are flightless.
Yeah. Well, no, cockroaches can fly.
Some can. Yeah. These aren't anything like cockroaches, for the record.
They kind of look like cockroaches.
Sure, but
Just without like the pincers are like obviously
they
not
look a lot
cockroaches, but the
more
rest of them kind of look
horrible.
like cockroaches. Yeah,
Oh,
anyway, they're horrible.
the males carry the eggs ostensibly. They
Oh.
often lie motionless at the bottom of a body of water while they wait for prey. They show paternal care.
Wow.
Oh.
That's why they're squashing them in this town in Louisiana, because it's a matrilineal town. It's a
Wow.
matriarchy. Can't have any paternal
Wait, that's
feelings here.
funny. I think you squash them because otherwise your toesies get
Oh,
mosey.
absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, the males
That's
invest considerable
horrible.
time in reproduction, and females take the role of actively finding males to mate.
Jeez. Yeah, Eva describes this as like this like summer trip is like, oh, like it's so great, like reconnecting with my roots and like meeting like my distant relatives and like learning the real stories behind all like my ancestors.
Yeah,
But like she also is having constant debilitating migraines. It's like wildly hot. She has to deal
I
with like
know.
demon bugs. I was like, this doesn't seem like a good experience.
I
Like,
know. Well, and
no.
the crazy thing, so I was just in New Orleans and like but drove for the first time. The whole state is like literally underwater. Like I can't explain to you how the highway is underwater. Like the water is higher than the highway when you're on the highway.
What?
Unclear where Bellefleur is. I guess like it's not necessarily like she's
I think
not
it's in the
only like
bayou because
no,
she's
I'm
described their
saying right,
Creole.
the entire thing is a bayou. Yeah, the entire thing, Allison, it's underwater. And so when they say water bugs, the water bugs aren't visiting you. You're visiting the water bugs. Like, that's their territory.
You're in the
Like,
water bug's house now, bitch.
exactly. Like, and she
Oh,
even
no.
says that at one point. She's like, yeah, I forget what the context is, but she's like, yeah, Audrey's talking about some like wilderness trip and how like she doesn't really want to go. And like, I'm going to back her on that because like,
Mhm.
what? How would you like, you're just going to go to the bear's house for a little visit? How would you like it if the bear came to your house for a
Yeah.
little visit?
Yeah, they're talking about camping, like how they both hate
Yeah.
camping. She's like, it's
Yeah.
arrogant. That's is what it is.
Exactly.
I was like, fair
Which like
enough. I mean,
which fair enough, but also bold of the woman who's going to for a little visit to the water bugs.
and then murdering them. Like,
Can't murder them. It's her aunt
no,
murdering them
no,
and
yeah,
she's
she's very scared.
judging
She's scared
them.
of them, as she should be, because they're
Yeah.
terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're texting this whole time. Shane finally learns. He finally learns. So he goes to like AA. He doesn't go to real therapy, even though he should.
Oh yeah, he keeps saying he doesn't like therapy the whole time. Like,
Yeah,
not for
but he
me.
does eventually learn that he needs to not have an attachment to like the kids that he is like working with the way he like was, because before it was like he was like a father figure, like he was like really like taking on the emotional burden, and he's like, I can't like do that because like they're just going to be like so many cases like Ty, and it's like
Like, I
overwhelming and
get
unhealthy
it,
for
but
me.
also why didn't he just spring tie? Like,
To New
like, I
York.
get it.
He was
Yeah.
13.
Yeah,
You can't just bring a
exactly.
child to New York with you.
Well, why not? It's a
But
free
that's
child.
kidnapping, Rachel.
Listen.
That's called kidnapping.
Well, yeah, but not without not without permission. Like he could get permission.
Rachel.
Listen, he could have come. He's small. I mean, he's not small.
Okay.
He was actually a 300-pound, 6'4" eighth grader. But like, I get it. As a former,
He's a wee boy
not quite
at
300
heart.
pound, not quite 6'4", but like exactly,
He's just
exactly,
a wee boy.
exactly.
Poor Ty. But I do think that is healthy for like Shane to learn. He's like, I need to establish emotional boundaries. Like, it's a lot.
I don't know. Like, I know this isn't true, but like in my head, bringing a child would be easier than even like adopting a cat because like the child can go to
Oh
school.
my god.
Listen, why
All
not
right,
Ty?
we can unpack that later.
All right,
Unpack
listen.
your
All
feelings
right,
about
well,
children later.
their quote, they spoke first thing in the morning every day now. And I don't know why something about that was giving like a Taylor Swift song. Like I was thinking about it, was so romantic. Just like the placement and like the paragraph structure was like, I don't know, it was giving like I see you every day now in maroon. Anyway.
It was very romantic. Like their whole it's a very like romance heavy story. Like it's very drama, but I feel like it was very heavy
Mm-hmm.
on like capital R romance.
Mm-hmm. But you don't get that much actually. And
No.
now that you just said that, like it's very well done because I didn't cringe at all. And he even throws in a sunshine at the end and it didn't make me cringe. Because it was at the end and it felt
Wow.
earned. Like Unclear why
Wow.
Sunshine, but like, listen, I'll give it to them. Yeah.
She's the light in his darkness.
And I'm honestly not even sure what romantic feelings are. I'm going to be honest, but like, I guess you know it when you see it. Listen.
Yeah. No, it was very, you don't get this kind of like deep, like soulmates love in book, particularly in contemporaries nowadays.
Yeah.
You know, and like a lot of the books coming out. I think
Uh-huh.
it's partially because like the rom-com is so big and that's what's like really being
Mm.
pushed. And like you just can't get that level to that level in a rom-com because like then it's not a rom-com anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was very romantic.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, Audrey and Cece are both like, these goobers are too dumb for their own good. We're gonna match make, and so like they lure them both to Atlanta and like give them a secret romantic dinner, like and like surprise them, and they're like, oh,
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
And then Eva's like, you know, like it's never gonna be perfect with Shade. Like we're both pretty fucked up, but like I think that we could be fucked up together. Like you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then they get all the Junes. They get 70 years in June. The rest of their lives. Except
Yeah.
probably not because they're both in their 30s. So it's more like maybe 50 years in
Oh my
June.
God, stop. 77 years in June. Days in June. Oh my God,
pretty
yeah.
bold.
That's great, yeah.
Not if the water bugs get you first. You never know. She almost gets killed by
Yeah.
a branch. Oh yeah, there's
Oh,
constantly like
yeah.
the
Near-death
superstitious like
experiences.
spiritual like tones throughout. Like the
She sends
beginning,
him house
she's
plants. Yeah.
masturbating and she almost gets killed by her vibrator. She almost gets like knocked out by
She
her
chokes on
vibrator.
gum.
Yeah, and then she almost like a tree almost falls on her at the end, and it's supposed to be like near death experience means that something's like gonna change. And then also there's also like the house plants thing, which is
Yeah.
which is like a pretty common spiritual thing where like dead house plants are not actually bad. They're just signs that like they're absorbing the bad energy. And so she sends when Shane house sits for her, she sends him a bunch of plants. And then
And they
he's
keep
like,
dying.
I watered them and
Which,
they
like,
get enough sun. I don't know what's happening. And then they're all dead.
which, like, what does that mean? Like, why is there so much bad energy coming
He just
towards
has
him?
bad juju that he needs to work
Yeah.
through so that they can be together.
Okay.
I think that's like
Yeah.
he's like getting rid of all the toxicity in his life. He's like working
Fair
through
enough.
everything. Yeah, anyway, I think that was
Yeah.
really funny. Also, one thing, there was really no organic time to bring this up, but at one point we learned that young Shane felt bad for snakes because they don't have legs. And
Oh,
I thought that was so cute.
Listen, I know. I get it. Like, wow.
That was so cute. And then he was like, he kept drawing like snakes with legs, and then he realized it was just lizards.
Yeah.
It's like, fair enough.
No, but like he's not wrong. Like snakes are so slow. Like you think they'd be faster, but they're slow and they don't get out of the way and then they get squished.
Poor snakies.
On the witch hill in Tyler Park. Do you remember that? Is that something that only exists
What's
in my
the
memory?
witch hill?
The hill? Okay, well,
the one with the spooky fog where the power line fell down?
yes,
Okay.
it's always cold. It's where the swamp cabbage is. And in March, in like spring 2020, it was always covered in little snakes.
Oh, I do remember that.
Everywhere.
That was horrible.
But it was horrible for the snakes because they would get squished. Like there's cars down. Yeah. There's sometimes the cars of the people that live in the park. And like one time I stepped on one, it was really, really traumatic.
Yeah, I don't like stepping. Yeah. Anyway, that's a pretty depressing.
Anyway,
Justice
so, like
for
you
snakes.
watch them and they like try to like sometimes like get the wherewithal to like slither out of the way of like when people are coming, but like so slow. Like
just like think about it because they have to like bend their whole body.
Some snakes are fast, but like not
these. There's like some like desert snakes.
Like, I was gonna say, picture the way that the desert snakes move, but like so much less of like not leaping
motion.
Yeah.
In slow motion.
Yeah, like not
or like the
so
water
just,
snakes,
like, frantic moving, but not actually moving anywhere.
Yeah, poor baby snakes.
I know. Like, what happened to them? What was up with that? That was so weird.
I don't know. The Great Purge.
Anyway, Catskill.
Feels pretty low. Yeah. There was only one cat reference, and it was Audrey
curls up by a cat.
Cat-like. In order to establish dominance over Shane.
Yeah.
In order to be like, she's my mom first.
Yeah. Audrey is the only character in this book I realized that I can like picture exactly what she looks like, which isn't a criticism because usually the number of characters that I can picture exactly what they look like is 0.
Yeah.
So
yeah. No, I can definitely picture exactly what she looks like. And I liked her in general as a character. Like she was definitely like unique. I just feel like, you know, kids and particularly in romance novels are often like really annoying.
Yeah.
But I thought she was like fun. And like I could imagine a 12-year-old being like this. And I could imagine like myself if I hadn't been like raised a conservative Republican, like I could be I would have been Audrey. I feel like if I had been raised liberal, I would have been Audrey as a 12-year-old.
And I was gonna say, I feel like it's because, well, just like in general, when you talk to kids, like I feel like the key is to just talk to them as an equal, like, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Also,
Well,
like,
yeah, I think that's a lot of
books,
times when
but that's not
people
always the only, like, that doesn't always solve the problem.
but I feel like that's usually the number one complaint is that like you're like, have you just never spoken to a child before? Like the way that like a lot of authors write kids. It's just very bizarre.
Yeah.
The only other book that I think I really enjoyed the children in was Tessa Dare's The Governess Game, where she's like governess to the 2 kids, and the 2 kids are just funny because like they're constantly like pretending their dolls are dying of smallpox.
Yeah, no, that's great.
They're like they're like Emily Elizabeth or whatever. What's her name in the Babysitters Club?
Yes, Emily Elizabeth and Karen.
Yeah, Emily Elizabeth.
The sister's name is the rat. Yeah. Oh, she doesn't kill the rat.
No, but she's like morbid. She's like constantly like,
oh, in the show.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Yeah, exactly.
It's like a little,
Karen. The girl's
freak,
name is Karen.
Oh, Karen. Yeah.
I don't think does she have her pet rat, Emily Elizabeth?
I think she does.
Show.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Anyway,
yeah, I feel like Audrey was kind of only maybe the only cat. Cece, I think, was a cat.
Yeah,
because she liked like just like lording over everyone.
Yeah.
Like,
something we didn't mention. Sorry, this is only this. I just remember really. So Eva went to Princeton and like was admitted to Princeton and then had her admission rescinded her senior year because her grades started slipping.
Yes.
Which I just listen. I know like that was like an urban legend. That's a thing that could happen. I just refuse to believe that that's a real thing. They can listen. There's just no way they're out here.
Well, she started getting like D's.
Yeah, there's just no way that they're like making you report that or like keeping track. I just listen. No, she was getting like B minuses, not D's.
No, she was getting D's. No, it was specific like her grades. Like she was like failing.
How are they keeping track? And keep in mind, this is 2004.
You have to send them your transcript.
You definitely don't. There wouldn't be a transcript until the end of like whatever. 3, 2, 1, 4.
4. Wow.
Yeah.
It's pretty rare that we pick the same one. I feel like we haven't done that in a while. The vibes haven't matched.
Yeah. Well, it's usually pretty close, like 1 off, 2 off.
Sometimes it's not, yeah. But I feel like we haven't had a point, like something that wasn't a 0.5 in quite a long time.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, fair enough. Allison, where can they find us?
You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at We Read It One Night. You can find us on Twitter at We Read It Podcast. You can email us, wereaditonenight@gmail.com. Send us your listener suggestions and also start thinking about what TV show you want us, romance TV show you want us to chat about next. Also check out our merch on Redbubble and check out our new Etsy store that's just feminism and cats and kinky things and comfy clothes, and it's just lovely, and you should check it out because sometimes I'm constantly going into fugue states at like 11:30 p.m. and just creating new designs on our printful thing. It's a problem because I've been going to bed at like 3 a.m. So justify my sleeplessness by purchasing our merch. We got our first 5-star review.
Did we?
One of our products. Yeah.
Wait, absolutely. I love it.
Yeah, we got a review, and what was this? Oh, also leave us a rating and review. Do it right now. And also, wherever you're listening, make sure to like follow us or subscribe or like whatever it's called on like the podcast place that you're listening to so that you can get notified whenever we have a new episode.
Godspeed, comrades.
Godspeed.